is important. It has to do with our food. Unpleasant, but some things have parasites in them. Worms in raw seafood have increased 280 times, but it's not sushi we should worry about. Carla Casella, Science Alert reports, since the 1970s, a parasitic worm that infects fish, squid, whales, dolphins, and sometimes even us has increased globally 283-fold, according to a new meta-analysis. It's no small amount because this creature is so tiny and the ocean so vast. It somehow evaded our notice up to now. Not even the researchers themselves can figure out why this parasite is growing like gangbusters or what it could possibly mean in the long run. Well, obviously, it's not good to have parasites. Some of the articles I read are really terrible because they can even, because of the toxins that release in us, they can even cause cancer, the articles say. Now, known as the herring worm or Anisakis simplex, this particular parasitic nematoid can hide in raw seafood. If mistakenly eaten by humans, it can cause symptoms similar to a bad case of food poisoning. Other mammals aren't so lucky. While the fishing industry might be inconvenienced by the rising tide of anisakis, this parasite poses a much bigger threat to cetaceans such as whales and dolphins. Unlike humans, these marine animals can get stuck with anisakis for years, and they don't even have seafood processors and sushi chefs around to carefully clean out their catch. Aquatic and fishery scientist Chelsea Wood says consumers don't need to be worried too much. She herself continues to eat sushi regularly, given that the fishing industry has not even noticed this increase in the parasitic worm. Any risk of us ingesting it probably remains quite low, but the same cannot be said for marine mammals. Wood says it's not often considered that parasites might be the reason that some marine mammals populations are failing to bounce back. I hope this study encourages people to look at intestinal parasites as a potential cap on the population growth of endangered and threatened marine mammals. The impact of this rising parasite on marine mammals is currently unknown, but if the numbers are right, cetaceans are facing a much greater risk of contracting anisakis than half a century ago. Analyzing a total of 123 papers, the researchers revealed an astonishing increase in anisakis abundance over a 53-year period from 1962 to 2015. On average, they explain this means we have gone from finding less than one worm in every 100 hosts to more than one worm in every single host caught. The global scale of this analysis was too great to pin down on any one factor driving the growth. But Wood has a strong suspicion she knows what's going on. She said, my gut says that it's about the improvements we've made in marine mammal conservation. The time frame of our study directly overlaps with when a bunch of really important marine mammal legislation went into effect, like the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 and the International Whaling Commission moratorium on commercial whaling, which came in the 1980s. Strangely enough, however, not all marine mammal parasites are increasing. The authors said another similar parasite called the Pseudoptera nova, which infects fish, sea lions, and other seals, remains relatively stable throughout the same time period. And Wood says they were expecting it to be the other way around, given how much seals and sea lions have thrived in recent years and how much whales have struggled. So maybe anisakis is increasing because its life cycle has to pass through fewer hosts. Or perhaps it has something to do with the fitness of cetaceans versus seals. The problem is we have no baseline for what natural looks like. The rising number of ocean worms could be a sign of the ecosystem thriving, or they could represent a growing threat to already endangered and vulnerable creatures like Hector's dolphin. The only studies available for analysis come from near history, but by this time humans have already changed the oceans in drastic ways. This raises the question, is the abundance of anisakis increasing in response to human impacts, like fishing, pollution, or climate change, or is it recovering alongside the exploited marine mammal host? Right now, we just can't say for sure. Wood thinks the most plausible explanation is that some marine animals are doing well, leading to an increase in the parasite at the expense of more vulnerable creatures who now face an increased risk of infection. We simply need to do more research. The authors say this is the story of only 2 parasite species among millions that are extant meaning they're currently living, and we encourage others to use historical ecology approaches to track changes across a diversity of marine parasite species. Only then will we have the idea, the data, to indicate whether contemporary oceans are facing a rising tide of marine disease. In the Arctic, where the anisakis flourishes, we often lack long-term data, even for the best-known parasites and their diseases. And if we don't know where they're going or where they've been, we can't predict how diseases will change with the times. In this case, we completely missed out on the rise of anisakis, and while it might not matter to humans at this time, someday it very well could. There are way bigger infectious diseases threatening people today that they have to worry about, particularly now. The effects of anisakis are pretty mild, she says, and while it's certainly not fun I'm not going to say it, but we've got bigger fish to fry. All right, this is from Global Change Biology, and it's on Science Alert. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.